You'll find continuously updated news feeds that cover a wide range of top domestic and international stories. You can also watch current and previous editions of the Hal Lindsey Report on demand 24 hours a day. It's ready when you are. Plus, there's the latest and most exciting edition, my new video blog. Each week I'll share scriptural teaching and insight on late-breaking events from around the world as they relate to the prophetic scenario. Perspective you can find only on this website. You just might want to make it your new home page. You'll also find convenient ways to support the broadcast and order my books, DVDs, and audio teachings through our safe and secure online store. Sign up for our email list, and I'll send previews of each week's program right to your inbox. You can also send us your comments, suggestions, and prayer requests. Keep them PG, please. Stay informed and help us share the message of the gospel with others around the world at thenewhallindsey.com. Why is the UN and the rest of the world so preoccupied with Israel's blockade of Gaza? Yet no one mentions Egypt. Egypt is blockading Gaza from its side of the border. But no peace activists are trying to run Egypt's blockade. If they did, they'd get shot, and nobody would say a word about it. In April, Hamas accused Egypt of deliberately pumping poison gas into a cross-border smuggling tunnel, killing 4 Palestinians and injuring several others. Do you remember hearing about it on CNN? Or reading about it in the New York Times or the Washington Post? Egypt has stepped up the blockade of Gaza from its side, burying an underground steel wall as much as 100 feet deep to prevent smugglers from tunneling through. Egypt routinely blows up or floods the tunnels it discovers without regard for any Palestinians who may be inside. It's unknown how many have died in the tunnels. One Gaza human rights group says more than 100 have died in the tunnel collapses. Now that's since 2007. In March, North Korea torpedoed a South Korean naval vessel operating in international waters. The warship sank, killing 46 South Korean sailors. It took nearly 2 months and a United Nations investigation before there was any international reaction. U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton called the attack unacceptable. So did the South Koreans. The UN deplored it. Then everybody gathered up their papers, left their podiums, and tried to forget all about the crazy little dictator with a nuclear stockpile. On Monday, while everyone was applauding Turkey, which traditionally has been Israel's only Muslim ally, for its principled stand against Israel's mistreatment of the Palestinians, Turkish warplanes were bombing Kurdish targets inside Iraq's northern borders. Nearly 50 locations were hit in a day-long mission against the Kurds. There was no outcry from the UN at the bombing of the Kurds who are seeking the return of their ancestral homeland of Kurdistan. When the Russians carry out missions against the Chechens, separatists seeking the return of their homeland, Chechnya, there's no international outcry. Where's the humanitarian relief for the refugees of the Sudanese genocide? Where's the international sympathy for Darfur? Where's the outrage? I'll tell you. All the outrage is reserved only for Israel. All the sympathy for Hamas. Somehow, even the word hypocrite isn't strong enough to condemn this double standard. Last weekend, another ship attempted to break through Israel's blockade. The Rachel Corrie is named for an American anti-Israel activist killed in 2003 when she threw herself in front of an Israeli bulldozer in Gaza. The Irish ship was boarded without incident. After it was redirected to the Israeli port of Ashdod and searched for contraband, the humanitarian supplies were trucked into Gaza. Turkish officials were livid at the second interdiction. Prime Minister Recep Erdogan threatened to send another aid flotilla escorted by Turkish naval warships. He even hinted that he might board one of the ships himself. According to the Israeli government, Hamas has been closely coordinating its response with Iran since the Mavi Marmara incident. In a case of massive diplomatic understatement, Israeli Deputy Foreign Minister Danny Aylan told a news conference that Iran is using extremist organizations and states in order to distract world attention, and it is entirely possible that the timing of the terrorist flotilla is not coincidental. Not to be overshadowed by Turkey, Iran's Ayatollah Khamenei announced over the weekend that his government was also considering running the blockade. The Iranian Red Crescent Society said 8,000 volunteers had enlisted for an attempt to break Israel's maritime blockade of Gaza. A senior Red Crescent official insisted that the planned mission was purely peaceful and humanitarian in its goals. Now, if you believe that, I got a bridge to sell you. According to the organization's director, one ship will carry donations made by the people of Iran, and the other will carry relief workers. If there's anything the world knows it can trust, it's Iran's famously peaceful intentions. On Monday, Iranian President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad visited Turkey. He met Turkish activists who traveled aboard the aid flotilla to Gaza. In an address to worshippers at a mosque in the Turkish capital, Ahmadinejad accused Israel of unmatched crimes. Unmatched crimes. Iran's official news agency quoted him. They have thus been creating many unmatched crimes in the course of 60-some years of its history that have been unprecedented in the history of mankind, the last of which has been invading the Gaza peace flotilla. Only a certifiable nut job could believe that Israel's crimes are unprecedented in the history of mankind. On the same day that he warned both Russia and the United States not to oppose Iran, Ahmadinejad once again threatened Israel. Attacking the aid convoy was a big crime which brought the Zionist regime one step closer to its death. Yet our lily-livered leaders continue to believe that Israel is the enemy. If things aren't topsy-turvy and upside down, I don't know when it's ever been. I'll be right back.
You can now own Hal Lindsey's complete teaching of A Man Called Stephen. In this 90-minute 2-CD set, Hal explores in depth the genius, the beauty, and the power of Stephen's defense of the gospel before the Sanhedrin. This 2-CD set can be yours for a gift of $25, which includes shipping and handling. Simply request A Man Called Stephen and send your gift of $25 to Hal Lindsey Media Ministries, P.O. Box 470470, Tulsa, Oklahoma 74147. You can also order online at hallindsey.com or by phone, toll-free at 1-888-RAPTURE.
You know, it's truly a testimony to the power of a prejudiced media and their propaganda that Hamas can so easily be turned into the victim. Hamas is a blood-soaked Islamic terrorist group dedicated by charter to the destruction of Israel and its replacement with an Islamic state governed by Sharia law. It is not a humanitarian group. It is not a religious group. It is a terrorist organization that exists only to spill Jewish blood. Hamas has been holding an Israeli soldier hostage for nearly 4 years. What kind of victim takes hostages?